even in school, and you're already paying $25,000 a head?
So almost 40% of women would have want to be a homemaker. Think about that for a second. That's crazy.
Ruslan.
We get into that. Guys, my name is Ruslan, and this channel exists to encourage you to mastermind your business the master's way. May not be subscribed yet, so if you aren't, please hit that subscribe button as we are on the verge of cracking 10,000 subscribers, and I would love to celebrate that with you. All right, now let's get into the video.
Not even in school, and you're already paying $25,000 a head?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's just dumber than crap. How much money you make? There's not enough money in the world that doesn't make that stupid.
Oh, gosh. Find you a free summer camp.
It does cost.
It costs $25,000 a year to send your kids to daycare. And so he's getting roasted because he's like, this is a bad idea. The thing Kelly P sent me, someone said 80,000. And so she said, and by the way, Ramsey didn't say that, which is funny because he got dragged for saying find free childcare in this other post, which I wonder if they blocked me because I definitely commented on it.
Ramsey?
The post says find free summer camp. Ramsey tells people to find free. So it wasn't even Ramsey that said find free summer camp. It was whoever his co-host is. They got a new co-host or newer co-host. Her name is Jaden. Shout out to Jaden. She's pretty, I think she has some good takes. So he's getting roasted because he said $25,000 a year is never smart to spend on childcare. What do you say about that?
My wife worked in a daycare, and I think we're saying childcare, so we're assuming that it's like little baby age, toddler age, right? School is gonna be a little bit different. So daycare, I think, was like $1,000 or $1,500 a head per kid.
$1,000 to $1,500 a head. Okay.
Yeah, maximum.
Okay.
So $2,000 a month is a little high, but it also depends where you're at.
Financial guru Dave Ramsey's totally caught off guard by daycare cost. $80,000 a year for a child. Can you explain to me why you can't get by on $180,000, right? So he's getting roasted for this, and then let's read the caption. In his podcast, go ahead. That's my response.
Oh, you want to read the caption?
Yeah, read the caption first. In his podcast suggestions for one caller include things like free summer camps, which, by the way, he did not say. His co-host said, but it's still on him. Okay, now here's the punchline for me. I have friends with nannies.
Yeah.
The nanny don't make $80,000 a year.
Uh-oh.
I got a buddy who has a nanny that watches 2 to 3, sometimes 4 kids. And the nanny doesn't make $80,000 a year. What are you doing spending $80,000 a year on childcare, according to Scary Mommy, this Instagram, right? Second of all, if you're spending that much on childcare, wouldn't it make sense at $25K a head for one spouse not to work? So the math isn't mathing to me. The math isn't mathing, or that post is completely misleading. But just bare math, bare bone math, $80,000 a kid, $80,000 total for childcare. When you could just hire a nanny for less than that, I would say in most major cities.
Yep.
Because we're in San Diego, and I know for a fact his nanny was not making nowhere near $80K.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect, but then there's also just the sheer simple math of, hey, if you're spending $25K a kid, and you got 2 kids in childcare, wouldn't it make sense for someone to hit pause on their career for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, and stay home with one of the kids? Right? Now, of course, that's unpopular to say, but this goes back to the macro point that we keep talking about, which is the Gallup poll that said 56% of working women would have preferred to stay home had they been given the opportunity. Pull up that real quick so that no one is confused and thinks that I'm making it up. Guys, if you're here live, please smash that like button right now. Let me know where you're watching this from. I'm going somewhere with this point, okay? I'm going somewhere with this point. A new Gallup poll shows that more than half of women in the U.S. with children under the age of 18, 56, would prefer to stay home over going to work, and 39% of women without children under the age of 18 said they wanted the role of homemaker. 39% of women without children wanted the role of homemaker.
That's crazy.
56% would have preferred to stay home. These are women with kids had they been given the opportunity to. So what does that say to us as men, Zach?
Oh, it means we gotta be providers, baby. Means you gotta get the skills up.
Gotta get the skills up.
You gotta get the opportunities up.
Gotta get the opportunities up.
You gotta make some money. You know, there's people too that like, oh, my wife's a nurse.
Mhm.
She make all the money, so I think I'll just kind of chill in the background.
Mhm.
You should probably get
should
your
have a plan.
skills up.
You should
Because
have a plan.
Your nurse wife that makes all the money
You should have a plan.
is gonna have a baby.
At some point, she's gonna have a baby, and her biological inclination is gonna go into mama mode, which is good, and you want her to stay home. Because here's the flip side that no one's telling you guys. You ready for it? You're just a cog in a wheel in the macro consumeristic culture that we live in.
Darkness.
They want you away from the home. They want you at a job. They want you to spend most of your waking hours generating value for someone else, and they don't want you to be with your kids. I'm not saying they as in there's this malicious, intentional cabal in the Dubai rooms sitting there. I'm just saying, think about just the bare bones. How many women do we know, Zach, who racked up student loan debt only to go home and be moms?
Man, the love of my life.
And this is the part you got. I'm starting FPU tonight. We're doing FPU at my church. I'm leading that course. I get to deal with these families. I get to help these families get out of debt. I get to see the realities of the indoctrination that you need to go get a communications degree. My wife got a communications degree. You know what she uses more than a communications degree? The certification she got from Palomar College to use InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop.
Dang, that was probably.
She uses that. That was way more valuable to her.
Oh my goodness.
In her actual career when she worked full time and what she does now with us, which is she designed our prayer journal. We're working on a leadership prayer journal. That is way more valuable. At this point, I'm like, yo, college seems like a scam.
Oh yeah.
Right? Unless you're going into STEM, unless you're going into science, tech, engineering, right? So you have this proliferation of pressuring young women to go to school, to get degrees that aren't even hard skills, to then turn around and come home and be moms. You know what we could have done? Is just told young women that it's okay to be moms.
Yeah.
We could have just done that. Instead of now, there's all this burden, and you guys are mad at Dave Ramsey for saying $25K is too much to spend on childcare.
It's too much. It's crazy.
Dave Ramsey's just telling you the bare bones. Like, cut back, and they did studies on this. And shocker, families where one person works versus two people that work outside the home end up netting home and taking home more money than families would too, because factor in that $25,000 per kid for childcare, factor in eating out more, driving more maintenance on your car, mileage, two vehicles. And guess what? You're taking home less money than a family where there's one person that's the breadwinner. So I don't know, man. I think a lot of this should help us think ahead of what kind of life we want to build and what kind of people do we want to be and what kind of cultures do we want to be and do we want to have kids just to pay someone else to raise them for us, whether it's daycare or a nanny, right? Like you're having babies and then having someone else do the raising for you. I don't get it. I don't understand. And so I think for men, my message is always going to be, we got to figure it out, fellas. We got to figure out, hey, what are the things we need to work through so that we can be more productive, right? What skills do we need to develop that we're currently lacking? And what opportunities do we need to seize or create by expanding our network, right? I think that's the part that no one is talking about and is going to cause more headache, more tension in marriages, more drama, more kids out barely seeing their parents barely seeing each other. So then the cycle continues. And it's not in the name of building anything. It's in the name of consumerism. Like you're a cog in the wheel. They want to get the most economic value out of you so that other people can consume, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. Right? And so anyway, those are my thoughts on that. What do you think, Zach?
That's crazy. I think those are great points. I feel like we needed the call-in show for Hetero Frog. You see what he said? He said, I just fail at life, broke on earth, but I'm saving for heaven.
Well, I think Hetero Frog has already self-fulfilling position on that. If that's what you believe about yourself, well, then that's going to be what you live out, right? But if you don't believe that, and you don't believe you just have to keep failing at life, and you don't believe you just have to keep sucking, and you don't have to create that false binary of like, well, I'm going to suck at life, but by golly, at least I'm going to make it into heaven. I want everyone here to make it into heaven. Matter of fact, God wants everyone to make it into heaven. Did you know that? that God's heart is that none should perish, that everyone will go to heaven, right? But the flip side to all of this is that we are living in the most technologically advanced era ever, where there's more opportunities and there's more abilities to learn, more options to get information, get inspiration and implementation for whatever it is you want to do than ever before. And if I know as a single man that at some point I'm going to want to have kids, well, let's backtrack. As a single man, if you're a single man watching this, I know that I'm going to want to have sex because most of you fools want to have sex. All right. Paul said, don't burn with passion. Instead, channel that passion. Okay. Don't burn with passion. Get married. Right. So if we know most men want sex, yes, we all agree. Most women will probably want kids at some point in their life. I guess that's the trade-off men and women have to make. Most men want sex. Most women want babies. Okay,
There you go.
I'm joking. Men want babies too, and women probably want to have sex too. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if we know that, and then you go, okay, so the most logical way for me to get sex is to provide for a family. Why? Because the byproduct of unprotected sex, which, by the way, most of you probably would prefer, okay? That means you need to do that in a covenantal marriage, okay? Where you're protected and you ain't got to worry about the STDs or whatever they got, right? So now we have a covenantal protected marriage. So if you want that, then it means you got to get married. So how do you get married? Well, you got to earn enough so that you can figure out how to pay rent and how to move out and how to do stuff. Okay, so then you got to do that. And then after you build on top of that, then you got to figure out a way how to provide for a family. Why do we got to figure that? Well, because we know the majority of women, 56% of working women would prefer to stay home. And almost 40% of women who don't, again, here's the stats. I
gotta
go back to the stat. Here's a stat. 39% of women without children under the age of 18 said they wanted so almost 40% of women would have want to be a homemaker. Think about that for a second. That's crazy. Those are crazy numbers. So if we know this, well then as men, we have to work backwards. What is the conclusion? Hey, most women are going to want to stay home and raise kids. Most women, not all, but most women. I would say if you increase Christian on top of that, you increase mothers with little kids, that percentage is probably way higher. So if you know that, then we just got to work our way backwards and we got to go, okay, cool. Listen, not everybody's going to do it. I get it. It's hard. Yes, totally. It's hard. But it's simple. Simple, but not easy. Just because something is hard doesn't mean it's not simple. A lot of the hardest things that people never accomplish are actually very simple. You getting abs is actually very simple. It's just also very hard, right? But it's simple. Eat less, move more. That's it. That's it. Same thing. Hey, you want to have more money left over at the end of every month? Earn more, spend less. Boom. I fixed it for you. It's extremely hard to live this stuff out. And so, but it starts with you even believing it's possible. And I think the unfortunate part is just so many folks are so beat up that they don't believe it's possible. You've been so beat up by life. You've been so beat up by society. You've been so beat up by consumerism. You've been so beat up by the internet and low self-esteem and the trauma that happens to you that you don't even believe it's possible. And I'm telling you this, guys, if I can do it, you can. I am not that special. If anything, I got way more things working against me from all the junk that happened to me and all the bad decisions I made than those of you guys that are like, it's got a semi-clean slate. So if I could do it, if Zach can do it, Zach is doing it in real time, right? Then you can do it. I promise you can do it. And it's going to be optimal for you, your future family, your future kids. Get your stuff in order today. The best thing you could do right now is find a good local church home. Find a good local church home, start serving, get into community, and then start dealing with your junk. Start dealing with your issues. Okay, some of you guys might need therapy. Some of you guys might need a good Christian counselor. Some of you guys might need to just start training and channeling some of that testosterone that you can't control. Start healing and working on that. Hey, thank you so much for watching that video. Guys, I believe that one of the best ways you can build a business is by first building a platform online. So Zach Sparazzo put together a free training for you on the #1 metric you can be looking for to explode your YouTube platform. Click the link in the pinned comment below so you can start that now. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.